Okay, I got to end on my conspiracy brain.
Uh-oh.
Donald Trump is Voldemort.
Donald Trump is not Voldemort.
Okay, I got to tell you why.
Okay, tell me why.
Okay. I've been watching these Harry Potter movies, and every single thing that Voldemort does is the things that Donald Trump does.
Like what?
So, Donald Trump at his core is, I'm in charge of the Republican Party, and I am the guy, right?
Yes.
So, anytime anyone else is even perceived as becoming the guy, what does Trump do? He attacks them and destroys them, right?
Yeah.
So, think about what Voldemort did. So, I'm watching the first movie, and he's using Professor Quirrell. Remember, he's on the back of his head?
Yes.
He's using Professor Quirrell. Now, he doesn't care what happens to Professor Quirrell.
No.
At all. You know, he died.
Yeah.
Because Professor Quirrell literally said, yeah, he punishes me sometimes because I don't follow his instructions. It's like, dude, he needs you to stay alive. You're killing unicorns. I'm sorry, non-nerds. I'm so sorry. Anyway,
don't be sorry.
So
this is fascinating.
Professor Quirrell literally sacrifices his own career as a professor, sacrifices his own life in order to protect the dear leader. And then once the dear leader realizes that Harry has the Sorcerer's Stone, what does he do with Quirrell? He just drops him. All of the Republican congressmen that voted against Donald Trump in any way, they're all gone.
Yeah.
No one even cares who they are. I mean, you know who Professor Quirrell is?
No.
Liz Cheney. Somebody who supported Donald Trump the entire time until what? She voted with Donald Trump the entire time he was president. And then at the last minute, she's like, well, maybe it's not so. Her career is over. It's gone. It's done. Does Donald Trump care? Did Donald Trump ever appreciate any of the good things that she did while he was president? No. No, he just moved on. He doesn't care. He moves on. So look at what he did to Snape. Now, Voldemort never found out that Professor Snape was actually working with Dumbledore. He never knew that. In the story, in the book, and in the movies, he never knew that. But what did he do to Snape? He said, you've been a great servant, Professor Snape. And then he killed him just to taste, because he thought in his mind, he thought that the Elder Wand was supporting Professor Snape because Snape is the one that killed Dumbledore. Not that while Snape is telling him, look, the Elder Wand is yours. It's not mine. And he killed him anyway. And then the freaking Elder Wand was actually going to Harry anyway, so it had nothing to do with Snape. But what did Voldemort think? Well, I'm the guy. So no matter who I have to sacrifice, Ron DeSantis is about to lose. He's going back to Florida, less popular. What's going to happen to him? The guy who supported Trump, who did sending all of the immigrants to sanctuary cities and all this stuff.
Yeah, because he started the Texas.
Literally, he has been
immigrant
riding Trump to a point where Melania feels like she doesn't have to do it anymore. He has been all over Trump's jock for years. He did
that is
look this
unpleasant image.
I'm going to put this on TikTok. Ron DeSantis did a Trump ad where he's teaching his kids by reading them The Art of the Deal.
I remember
he made a fake wall in the ad and said, that's right, son, build that wall. And he's got his wife talking about how Trump is awesome. What do you think happened to Ron DeSantis? Ron DeSantis is going to go back to Florida. He's now termed. He can't run for governor anymore. Trump has destroyed him, calling him Meatball Ron and all this. He doesn't care about his supporters.
Did you say he's termed?
Yes, no, like he can't run for a governor anymore. He already did 2 terms in Florida.
Oh.
He can't run. So now what's he going to do? He's going to have to run for Senate. But Trump's not going to support him.
I mean, he might.
He's talking about, he's like, oh yeah, Meatball Ron is now retired. Yeah, because because Lindsey Graham is literally cowering at his feet. Anyway.
Lindsey Graham got some skeletons in his closet. He'd be at all of the Diddy parties, I'm sure.
Of course. I mean, he's obviously a Southern belle who's never married a woman and
never
been seen with a woman.
A Southern belle. All right. That's enough of that.
Well, that's a conspiracy theory in DC that's been normalized for decades. They think Lindsey Graham and Tim Scott, people have said that they were closeted like their entire career. I wouldn't be surprised. They are cool.
It wouldn't surprise me. But Lindsey Graham definitely he seemed like he got some sugar in his tea.
No, he's a Southern belle. He's He's clutching his pearls. He probably is
You
sitting at
calling this
home.
man a Southern Belle is wild.
Listen to his voice. You don't
right.
think he sounds like a Southern Belle?
I ran.
Yeah, he's
Mom, I
he's
ran.
like when I saw it was when Kavanaugh was being bullied
Yes.
in his hearings, where we all know he's going to get put on the Supreme Court. And he's like, "This is unfair to this man. This is unfair." I'm like,
you know what he reminds me of?
What?
On Family Guy, the old man. He's like,
Mr.
Candy.
Yeah, Mr. Herbert.
Yeah.
So, moral of the story is,
don't be Lindsey Graham.
Donald Trump is Lord Voldemort.
Here's the thing: he's only not because he at least lets them live. Because Voldemort killed everybody.
Yes, but I'm not saying Donald Trump is literally murdering them. I'm saying that he is killing them politically. So,
it's
in the wake of his seek for power, not only and I remember we were watching one of the movies, and Voldemort had all of his people at this long table, and all of them are terrified. They're literally, as he's asking them direct questions, they look at him and they're like, "My lord," and they're like terrified. They're trembling. They don't want to answer him.
What's to me?
It reminds me of their fear when you ask them stuff like, you see Republican congressmen say, "Hey, did Donald Trump win or lose the election?" And they won't say he won because they won't say he lost. True. But they're terrified because they know if Donald Trump attacks me on Twitter, my career is over.
Well, I don't know. It's kind of wild. The level to which being like that kind of overbearing evil overlord,
it
has to make everybody working for you do a worse job. Because like now they're not gonna tell you when there's a problem. You're not gonna be able to anticipate things. And nobody's working well in fear.
And I hate to make the comparison, and I'm not making the comparison, but there's an old World War II movie that I really like. The entire movie is in German.
Oh, are you losing the game right now?
Losing the game?
Yeah, where you mentioned the Holocaust. You're not gonna start talking about the Weimar Rebellion, are you?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, there's a movie. It's a movie about Hitler. Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting movie, where it's about the last days before the war ended, or before Germany lost.
Is this the one where they found a guy that looks exactly like him to like be the actor?
Yes, and he did.
And it's in black and white.
No, it's not in black and white. It's a very good movie, but it's in German, and it's a subtitled movie. And basically, there's a scene in a very, very long scene in this movie
where he's just yelling at all his people.
He's yelling at his generals, and his generals are like, he's like, well, it doesn't matter because we've got a rebellion coming. We've got a front of soldiers that are going to come through. And they're afraid to tell him that front's already been wiped out. Like, he's not coming. And he's like, oh, no, he'll be here. And they're all sweating. Like, they show the sweat. They show the trembling of all of these generals. That's how Trump is with all of these guys, because the dear leader must be exalted. And at all costs, it doesn't matter how many of you go to prison, Michael Cohen. It doesn't matter how many of you guys lose your seats. It doesn't matter how many of you guys are disgraced.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how many nicknames you get. They're all just going to fall in line behind the dear leader because they're afraid that he's going to unleash his Avada Kedavra on them and it's going to literally politically destroy them. So that's
this is why that model doesn't work, and why we kind of don't want people who are inclined to use that model exclusively to lead anything.
It goes back to Avengers 1 when he told Loki, it's in your nature, you're going to lose.
Yeah, that's how that works.
Yeah, as the villain, eventually you're going to lose.
Yeah, because you're going to murder too many of your people and everybody's going to be like, you know what, it's not worth it.
Because if you keep metaphorically destroying all of your side, eventually you're going to turn around, it's going to be nobody left but you.
They're going to be like, hey, you destroyed all your own
health. How many Trump lackeys have to go to prison or be indicted or lose their seats?
Well,
before somebody will say, maybe this isn't going so well.
Well, the flip side is people are like, oh, well, they keep prosecuting us. And as long as that's advantageous, they're going to keep singing that. Speaking of which, speaking of the Republicans, and I think this will be a good place to wrap everything together. Did you see Ben Shapiro and Tom McFreakin?
Bro, I heard that they did like a rap song or something. Yes, they did a rap song. Ben was actually rapping. I didn't see it yet.
It's trash.
But I heard about
garbage.
It. I heard Kokolowski say something about it.
Okay, it's horrible.
Is it that bad?
It's that bad.
Well, I couldn't imagine, because if you guys don't know, Ben Shapiro is a super high-pitched Republican commentator who goes out and pretends that he's like this super intellect. No, he just likes the Republicans and he wants us to go to war. That's it.
Pretty much.
He's that's basically his whole thing. It's Israel could do no wrong and we should go to war. That's his whole thing. So You remember when WAP came out and he was all
Yes,
upset? So
he was
he's
like-
the guy, if y'all remember.
He's like, rap is not
yeah,
it's
yeah.
music.
And he's like,
It
if
doesn't have a melodic component.
if your vagina is getting wet, you really should go see a physician. That's what he said.
Yes,
And
that
he
is
says, because I don't understand why it would be that wet all the time. I don't get it. Like,
the greatest self-own in
yeah,
the
the
history
biggest self-own I've ever
of
heard.
commentary.
And I remember somebody made the point. He's married
With
and
kids.
has kids.
With kids.
So if your wife isn't, then
What are you doing?
something is wrong. Second, she knows that it's supposed to be
Bro,
moist. So
she's an OBGYN, is my understanding. She's a doctor.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it makes it worse.
So
So-
he's upset because he hates everything that's black culture. So he's upset that Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B made this song where they were talking about how they think that they're wet or whatever. And
He's like, this is
he's
disgusting.
like, I don't understand. This is culture. This is what's destroying America. Oh my gosh, women talking. And then of course, like everyone does, they go out and they're like, what about all the songs about men talking about sex?
It's like
All
that's
the
not
rock
same.
songs. There's literally rock songs of these
rock.
guys. That,
There's country. There's
Yeah.
classical music,
And
and
they-
they're
I mean-
talking about it.
but I ain't seen none of those Ben Shapiro videos. Have you?
No.
So this is Ben Shapiro that we talk about.
Hey, listen, people are not gonna stop hypocriting. They're gonna do it.
Yeah, the
But-
Republicans have a unbelievable ability to like ignore,
It ain't
the
just
things
them.
that they're doing. Projection. That's what it is.
Listen, the problem is all of them do it. They just do it in different directions, and the outcomes happen to be more frustrating when it's the Republicans because they're so out and out about it.
Yeah, I mean they have no like, what's the word that I'm looking for? Like when I'm
Shame?
doing something, and then I'm calling you out for the thing that I'm doing. There's a word for that.
Hypocrite? It seems like
Hypocrisy. That's the word. They have no hypocrisy meter. That's the word. Yes. So yeah, hypocrisy.
word of the day.
Yeah, our mom should be ashamed of us considering the giant dictionary we had to lug around our
Ashamed of
childhood.
us. I knew the word.
Why you even say hypocrisy?
I did.
You said hypocrite. Well, that's still. I mean, it's close.
You know what? Just for that, this has been the Pensive Brothers Podcast. I'm Elliot,
This is Aaron.
and we are out.